Hi, Miss Risto here, and I am going to show you today the common sewing tools that you will need for fashion class. So in fashion class, you will see various tools in a caddy, as I call it, and then we also have these cabinets that hold our ironing supplies on both sides of the room. So I'd like to just go over that with you. So first we have our shears. These are called shears. These are very good for cutting fabric and should only be used to cut fabric, not paper. These are small shears that are great for little things such as clipping of fabric or clipping threads. These are called shears, not scissors, because they're used for fabric and not paper. Next we have a seam ripper. This is used to take out our mess up stitches. If you make a mistake, this is like the eraser of sewing. So you just slide this pointy part here under the thread and lift up and it will cut the thread. This is called a seam gauge. Like a ruler, you can use it to measure when you're sewing or when you're manipulating fabric, and this actually slides back and forth here. These are called marking pencils, and they are used to actually draw on the fabric if you need to make a transfer marking from a sewing pattern or to mark where you're going to sew or cut the fabric. And it does come off very easily. It will wash off or rub off of the fabric. This is a pin cushion. We have magnetic pin cushions, and it will hold these, which are straight pins, and they're used for holding fabric together temporarily before we sew them permanently with thread. This is one of our ironing boards. We have big ones and countertop ironing boards, and most of them have a shelf that comes out like this to place the hot iron on. You can also place it like this, and that brings me to our last common sewing tool, which is the iron. Very important is the dial. We keep it usually on the cotton setting, which is the hottest, but you can, if you have a more delicate fabric, scroll down to where it says synthetics for those man-made fibers. Always start on a low temperature and test it before using the highest one. This is an ironing shoe, and it actually goes on top and then pulls tightly around the whole thing. We want to use these as often as possible, especially when you're testing out fabric, so we don't ruin the iron. If the fabric melts, we ruin the shoe, which is not as expensive as iron. And when you're done with the iron, you unplug it, you leave it upright like this if someone's after you, or you put it here. We never want to leave it like this. To iron, we move the iron back and forth like so. And to press, if we're pressing open a seam or a specific area, you push down and apply pressure. We have the steaming button. If we put water in here, it will add moisture to the fabric to iron it, or this actually sprays water, which we don't use as often. And those are the different tools that we will use in fashion.